Hello everybody, welcome back to the table. Today we are taking a look at the brand new version of the Kershaw Skyline. This one here is an exclusive to BladeHQ, but the reason why I picked this up is because prior to this model, the Skyline had been discontinued and hard to get a hold of. So we have some new production Kershaw Skylines, and so I wanted to share my thoughts and experiences with this model, as well as some close-up details of this new knife. And so I call this a new knife, but the actual design of the Skyline is essentially unchanged from its original iteration that was released many years ago. But I also want to support Kershaw because they are putting out a knife made in the USA with a classic design. And I definitely want to support their US production in any way possible. But for a lot, it is a classic design. It was very popular in its heyday. So how has it aged in the past, 10 plus years or so since it was released? So let's check out the Kershaw Skyline here. Because what we have a knife that is a liner lock folder with G10 scales and a flipper. And this flipper does run on bronze washers, and you can actually see them through this Jade G10. And of course, the Jade G10 is kind of the claim to fame for this particular model, because if you aren't aware, BladeHQ as a company, they are the Jade G10 people. So they come out with Jade G10 variants of many knives from many different sources. And so the Kershaw Skyline here is no exception to the rule. But that being said, like I was saying, the flipper here is not on bearings, it is on washers, and being one of the very early flipper designs that went into wide production, it didn't always have the best of actions. So this particular one is pretty good as far as Skylines go. It does require sometimes a little bit of wrist action to get it going, but as you can see, I think once it's broken in, the flipper is fairly reliable. It's kind of a push button action. You want to use a lot of force to get it out there. But we also have dual thumb studs, which while you can use them to open the knife, they also function as blade stops on the handle. And so many of you are probably familiar with the Kershaw Skyline. And of course, what draws people to this particular iteration are, again, the two things here. We have the Jade G10 scales, which of course can be dyed and customized to your liking, as well as the blade steel on this particular model. Because as we can see, listed right here on the blade, this is a Kershaw Skyline available in CPM 20CV. So that's kind of a brand new steel. Essentially, when the Kershaw Skyline was discontinued, CPM 20CV was not even on the map. So we get a super steel Kershaw made in the USA, and it comes in right at the $100 price point as a result. So for many, that hits the sweet spot. We get the super steel, we get the US design, and of course we can see the new American flag markings that Kershaw is now putting on their blades. We can see the little circular marking there that signifies this is an in-house Kershaw design. So 1760 Jade is the model number, and the blade itself does have a very light stone-washed finish on it, so you can kind of check that out in the light. Very nicely done. And in person, it almost looks like a satiny finish, but it is indeed a light stone wash, which is a very, very nice finish in my opinion. It will take wear and tear very well. But with this new model, I do like the action, like I said, compared to some of my older Skylines. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the Skyline. I've owned several of them. Currently, I only own this one and one other that's kind of a special edition one. But the action is not always the greatest on this model. When it comes to pocket clip design, we are only going to be right-hand side carry, as you can tell, but it is tip up or tip down, so that it can be switched up. It does come by default out of the box in tip down configuration, and for the Skyline, that actually may be preferred, because when you use tip up carry with this style of clip, especially considering where these holes are located, you have a fair amount of knife sticking out of your pocket, and that may be a good thing if you want to have it to grip onto to pull out. But if you're looking for the deepest possible carry with this stock clip, the tip down configuration is going to be your friend. And of course, at this point in the Skyline's lifetime, there are quite a few aftermarket clips available for it that can give you true deep carry. So that's always an option out there as well, because it uses the standard 2-hole Kershaw clip configuration. But with a knife made in the USA coming in at $100 with a super steel, what are we not getting with this knife? And so what I noticed on this particular knife right here are some not defects, but there are things that could have been improved in the construction of the knife. And this is not even new to this knife. Other Kershaw Skylines I've owned have had the same issues. So one of them being, let's take a quick look right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Actually, it might be a little too dark. So, but right here in the plastic backspacer, the blade right here on the tip, it does strike the backspacer. And so what that has done with this brand new knife out of the box, if you look at the very tip of the blade here, right there, you can see right at the tip, it's hard to pick up on camera, but you can see it is dulled. It is flattened right here on the very tip, because that much blade hits that backspacer every time you close the knife. And especially if you close it with some force, it is going to continuously hit that and dull the tip. And so essentially, how do you fix that? A couple of different ways. Of course, as you naturally sharpen the knife, that much tip will be removed and it will eventually stop hitting the backspacer. Alternatively, you could also shave down the back of the backspacer by just a very, very small, minute amount, and it would probably stop hitting there as well. But again, out of the box, we have that slight defect, and this is not the only Skyline I've owned that does that same thing. But in that same portion of the knife, taking a look back here, you can see that the actual backspacer does kind of sit proud of the G10 and the liner. So you can kind of see the black part hanging out there. So that is definitely enough. You can catch your fingernail on that. And it is screwed in properly. It's smooth up here, but it just flares out a bit, and it wasn't quite well finished in that regard. But again, this is a US made knife. These are assembled, by Kershaw, made in this country. So is that one of the trade-offs you get? Because originally when this knife came out, it was known more as a budget knife. So little flaws and issues like that tended to spring up from time to time. But this knife now costing the $100 mark, should we still be expecting those same little flaws here and there? Because another Kershaw Skyline I own, this one right here, is the Damascus blade version. See, it doesn't flip as well. See, same action, but yeah, there we go. Looking at the backspacer here, it's still same kind of issue. Is it really noticeable on a black G10 scale? Not as much, but there is that same striking issue where the tip of this blade does still strike the plastic backspacer. So it's just an issue maybe with this model of knife. So if you own a Kershaw Skyline out there, have you noticed this issue on your blade as well? It's not a deal breaker by any means, because this pattern has been a fairly popular one over the years. Or maybe it's not as popular, because of course it was discontinued at some point. But I am very happy to own these two Skylines. I don't know if I would own a plain Jane, just black G10 one anymore. But I do like the Damascus blade on this particular version. And you can see the blade steel differences. Just the markings, really. That's really all there is to it. We don't have the American flag on the older version. The blade steel isn't specifically marked. We don't have the little logo there. But the pocket clips, again, the same. Same exact shape. Of course, same model. But just wanted to do a side-by-side comparison with these two. But of course, Jade G10, why do we buy it? I don't know if very many people actually like the light green color, but of course the reason you buy Jade G10 is to dye it. And so I have quite a few Jade G10 knives that I'm kind of just waiting for me to get the dye out and get to work on them. So this one right here is from, I think it's Cuvist Blade Works. This is the variant. And again, Jade G10. Let's do a quick comparison. Look at the difference in color. It's really not a whole lot of difference you can tell on camera. The Kershaw's maybe slightly darker, but really not a giant difference between US made G10 and G10 from an imported knife. Because we have one more to pull out. This one right here is the Real Steel Luna, and this is the Knife Nuts Podcast edition. This particular one is a slip joint, but again, also that green G10. And I think this one has slightly more variance in color. And again, I don't even know if the camera is really picking that up properly, to be honest with you. But you can definitely see this one, it feels a little more green to me. But either way, all three of these knives are due for a dye job. I just have to decide really what color am I going to make them. Because I kind of want to leave this stock as it is, but that being said, I do love colors. So maybe a blue or a purple, maybe something that the original Skyline never was offered in. That would be kind of cool. But I am looking forward to that process. I just have to make the time in my day to get it done. So Jade G10, that is kind of BladeHQ's thing. Although these two are, again, from different sources, so they aren't the only ones to really utilize that color G10 on knives. But what do you think about this new Kershaw Skyline? I, for one, am very happy to see a classic design resurrected and put into super steel. But what do you think about this new model? What do you think about the Skyline in general? Do you think it should have stayed discontinued, or are you excited to see it back in stock? And what's really nice, this doesn't seem to be a limited run, because they are still in stock as of this video being made on BladeHQ. So they must have made a decent number of these things to be able to stay in stock for this long. So it should be widely available, I imagine, for anyone who wants to purchase one. So if that's of interest, I will try to throw a link down in the description to where you can buy this on BladeHQ. But again, go there, search it out yourself. Only other downside I would say before I turn off the camera, BladeHQ, they sent me the Skyline in a envelope, in a non-padded envelope, and the box got all smushed, courtesy of, I think it was FedEx, or no, it was UPS, courtesy of UPS. They smashed my box in. So if you are a collector, beware, they may send this out in a envelope and not a padded box. So that's a huge downside, because they claim to offer their 2-day shipping for free when you spend this much, but that 2-day shipping doesn't necessarily have to be in a secure container. So thumbs down to BladeHQ on that. But other than that, I am very glad they decided to resurrect this model. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Hope you all have a nice day, everyone. See you later. Bye.